Davenport police officer in the history of the department. Thank you, let's do that. I, on the other hand, am the shortest serving police officer sworn on the Davenport Police Department. I got hired on a Monday, got the call from the Secret Service on Thursday, and resigned on Friday. I asked them if I could keep my badge, and you know what they told me. Here's the deal, and you are going to understand this. People ask me when I retired from the Secret Service, do I miss the Secret Service? Do I miss setting in a surveillance van when it's 100 degrees out and somebody's got to bring you water while you're taking pictures of the bad guys? No. Do I miss a call in the middle of the night where you got to respond out and interview some nutcase that threatened to kill the president? No. Do I miss getting on a car plane, flying a continent away, to stand post for 12 hours and get back on and fly home? No. But I sure do miss the guys I did it with, and so will you. I knew Dave Struckman, I've known him for years, and let me tell you one thing. This is the consummate police officer. This is the consummate guy. He was the go-to guy for Davenport Police Department for protection. 1993, President Clinton came in. 3 days notice. 3 days notice for the Commander-in-Chief of our United States, for the leader of the free world, was going to come in, and they called me up from Washington, D.C., and they said, here's the deal. The President's coming in. We got very little manpower to send you. What about motorcades? I got a guy. So I go to Dave, and I said, Dave, I can't get an agent to do the motorcades. I need you to do them. And he did it. Folks, he did them better than any agent that I've ever seen him do them in the Quad Cities, to include myself. And I'll tell you what, he continued to do them. He was Mr. Motorcade. When they found out that they were coming to the Quad Cities, they did not send a transportation section agent. They let Dave do it and let the other lead advance guy just go from there. This is how good he was, and he transcended all boundaries. Rock Island, Moline, Davenport, East Moline, it didn't matter. Wherever Dave went, whatever he said, this is the way it was, that is the way it was. He is that damn good. And I tell you what, I'm going to end this right now, put a fork in it. Not only is he one of the finest police officers that I have ever met in my entire life, but Dave Struckman is my personal friend. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bill. Hey, you guys may not know me. Stand up there, David. Stand up there, David. I've had the privilege for many, many years to be Dave Struckman's stand-up double. So whenever we had those Secret Service motorcades coming in, whenever we needed to just spend that city money, Dave let me stand in for him and explain it the next day. So in all seriousness, Dave and I worked together first night on the job in the Rainbow Fleet. I don't know if anybody knows the Rainbow Fleet. I don't know if he was there. Where's Parker for the shootout at Goodyear Island that nobody talks about? If anybody's laughing, they know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, you need to ask a really old officer. But we've had a number of things. You can always trust Dave. I remember when Don Schaefer and I were in command post, we had a flood. We had a flood that knocked this city to its knees. And we were in command post and we had 2 or 3 aldermen. We had the mayor on the phone. And then Dave just came in, pushed everybody aside and made things happen, got things done. Great job. Nobody got hurt. Did as best we could with the property, everything failed out. But I can guarantee you that when Dave came into the room, everybody breathed a sigh of relief. Because just like Bill Albrook said, you know, when it was time for the rubber to hit the road, Dave was there for you, and he was a fire and forget missile. Sometimes you had to pick up the scrap metal as it came by. Sometimes you had to pay the bill at the city council. But I can guarantee you, in this world, in public safety, things got done because Dave Struckman was there. And look around in this room. There has to be thousands of years of experience in the squad cars, in the detective units, in the marshal service, in the federal agencies, in the traffic, in the support systems that made this public safety work. The families that stood out at night, that knew that, you know, they were going to have a holiday all by themselves. They know people are out there doing the job in public safety, and people like Dave was there over and over and over again. And I know he's missed a few holidays, because I know a lot of guys out here were right there with him in trying to serve the community. And for 44 plus years you did it. And I can't be more proud to work with you and say that I worked with you on your first day. And by God, I was glad that whenever it was time for me to get my picture in the paper, they forget me and they put yours instead. And that was really cool. Now I have a chance to work with the Marshal Service, and we really don't have much, but we do have a few coins left over, so I'm going to give you one of the Marshal coins in appreciation of all your hard work and service. Thank you. And thanks to everyone out there.
Good evening, my name is Vicki Hughes, and I've known this man since he had color in his hair.
You're bad at that.
Her name is Pat.
Oh, Pat.
And it was a privilege to work with him and with Ernie Lester and all of the other officers when we worked with the Governor's Highway Safety Office with the Alcohol Safety Action Program. And so that you know that Davenport and Scott County and all of the areas in this municipality picked up lots of drunk drivers, saving lots of lives through the years. So I was very privileged to work with Dave and very privileged to maintain a friendship through the years, and it is my honor to be here tonight to honor Dave. Thank you. Actually, I will take this over to Ernie, and I'll let Ernie say a few words.
Just talk, okay. I'll just relate one short amusing incident that occurred that sort of showed how quick he sometimes could be to anger when he was being troubled with technical inefficiency and so forth, and how quick he could turn to laughter. He was standing in front of my desk one day while I was questioning him or criticizing him for something that I don't now remember. And I remember he said, "Is this all this is about?" And he jumped up, he grabbed the door to my office and pulled it open, started out to stamp out and show his indignation. Unfortunately, the rung of his chair caught on his gun butt, and he presented a pretty laughable and laughable spectacle, storming out of the office, dragging the checker with him. So I'll end with that. And let me, I think I learned as much from you as you may have learned from me. I doubt.
Thank you for getting a picture. Yes! Woo!
This young man I've known since he's been born. Watched him grow up, which he hasn't succeeded in yet. No. And only believe half what he has to say. Scott Wagner from Muscatine, Iowa.
Woo! Woo!
So I see a bunch of David's officer, captain, chief, Struckman. See a bunch of his work associates out in this crowd. And so far I've seen nobody, none of his friends out in the crowd. So let me be the first of his friends. As Dave said, I've known him since I was back further than I can remember. The best thing about Dave, at least my psychiatrist tells me, is his wit. I could tell you stories about camping with Dave, how he'd bring a troop of soon-to-be officers out into the woods and have them scale 50-foot trees to take one branch down that was dead at the top to bring it down for a little bit of a bonfire. I could tell you stories about how we never, ever use any fireworks illegal fireworks out on the rivers to, you know, scare away the creatures that might attack our canoes. I could tell you stories about a farm in Columbus Junction where David performed some of his stunts. We'll just leave it at stunts. My favorite story about David is how he actually was my the first officer to ever pull me over. This was an absolute treat. I'm 16 years old, young man at the time. I bring a whole pile of guys up to see his daughter. Imagine that. Officer Struckman, who was asleep down in the basement of their house, directly below the kitchen. And the same guy that bought the furniture in that kitchen with rolling wheels so you could never roll because you wake up Officer Dave. This is the same guy that happened to wake up in the 30 seconds it took me to drive up the road and pick up some McDonald's from his house there in Davenport. He woke up somewhere in the middle of that, found my license, my brand new driver's license, sitting on his kitchen table, and took action. Just like the officer you all have claimed he is. I mean, he took action. High-speed pursuit. Must have been. So I was literally gone from his house for 2 minutes. Coming back from McDonald's, 3 blocks away, really. Maybe 4 blocks away. Officer Struckman pulls me over. Not just with sirens, not just with lights, but with a loudspeaker. Saying, pull to the curb and bring me your license. I shuffle through the paperwork in my truck. I'm hunting, I'm searching, can't find it. At that point, I decided it's good to get out of the truck and go back and address this officer that's pulled me over. First time ever. So with my head hung low, I walked back to the squad car, lights blaring in my face, so Officer Struckman could make his most important public safety stop and hand a 16-year-old kid his license back and say, remember to take this with you when you drive. For that, at least my sponsor says, I have a lot to thank David Struckman for. Thank you.
While we have a break here, I would like to introduce some very special people that are here tonight. My family, first of all, the person who is responsible for putting this all together, and she does such a fantastic job with the school system doing this sort of thing, but I never get to see how hard she works and the frustrations and the anxiety that takes place. She worked her butt off. And as you can see, with the help of Sheridan Saskowski and Randy Saskowski from Sheridan's service over at the Archstone, I never get the full name right, so Sheridan's Hospitality Management at the Archstone, who have done all the catering. I think they deserve a round of applause, please, for that. A special thanks goes to Sandra Barrett and Chris Frazier from Carver who allowed us the use of this facility when we were looking for a place that was, you know, almost impossible to find a place without paying an arm and a leg for it. And originally we were going to use a new hangar over there, but because of some contractual things with the aircraft having to be kept inside at all times, we would have cut our space down about to 1/2 of this. And as you can see, when we started out, we were looking for maybe 100 people, 125, and pretty soon the RSVPs came in with 150, 200, 250, 300. So we quickly outgrew the need for a small space, and they allowed us to use this hangar. Again, I'll be forever grateful for what they've done. And for the people who know what I do, now that I'm retired, I am flying for Carver Aero as a charter pilot. And over the years, they've been very good to me. And one special thing, when my son died, they allowed me the use of the aircraft to go pick my family up and take my family up, my daughter Andrea, up to Minnesota, which they didn't have to do, but again, they came through. So thank you to Carver for the use of their facilities, which they're not the newest and most modern in the world, but man, it really fit the bill. So thank you to them. The rest of my family